Right now at noon, the father of the Abundant Life school shooter is due in court this week. What charges he's facing. Plus, new polling shows President Trump's approval rating declines as his second administration marks 6 months. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Sprider. Right now, the investigation continues into 2 wrong-way crashes in DeForest that left 1 person dead and 5 injured. Authorities say an SUV going the wrong way collided with a car on the southbound side early Sunday morning. This was the interstate in DeForest. The SUV then started on fire. The passenger of the car died at the scene. Both drivers are in the hospital. The driver who went the wrong way has been arrested for drunk driving. Then, while authorities were investigating that crash, another crash happened. A car traveling south crossed the yellow line and struck a DeForest police car. Both the driver and passenger suffered injuries. Police also arrested that driver for drunk driving. The father of the Abundant Life school shooter is set to appear in court this week. Jeffrey Repnow has a preliminary hearing scheduled for Thursday. He is currently out on bond. Repnow faces 2 counts of intent to sell a dangerous weapon to a person under 18 and 1 count of contributing to his child's delinquency. Court records show Repnow provided his daughter access to multiple guns while knowing about her ongoing mental health struggles. This afternoon, a driver is facing charges after leading police on a chase from Pleasant Prairie into Illinois. It went over 100 miles per hour. This is new video released of that chase that happened late last month. An officer tried to pull over the driver, but that person did not stop and led officers on a chase. The driver hit multiple squad cars. They are charged with felony fleeing, 5 counts of endangering safety, hit and run, possession of cocaine and drug paraphernalia, along with several municipal citations. Now, first look at your first warn forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano on a Monday afternoon. Pretty comfortable outside right now.
Yeah, temperatures once again not too bad right now across the board. We are in the 70s and we're going to warm up a little bit, but overall it's not going to be too bad at all today, especially compared to where we're going to be for the rest of the week. But looking at the forecast for the afternoon hours, we are going to be seeing high temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s, plenty of sunshine, very small chance of rain, pretty much no chance of rain. So definitely get out and enjoy the weather. With the exception, though, of the fact that we do have some lower air quality, unhealthy for some, actually, for a good chunk of the area. Now, the good news is that this isn't going to last too long, the low air quality. If we take a look at the smoke forecast, it is going to begin clearing out of our area during the evening and overnight hours. And then once we get to Tuesday, we'll see much clearer air across the region. And overall, this is not expected to last very long. But as we take a look at the current rate, or the rainfall forecast, might see a few light showers north of Madison, but beyond that, not going to see much today, but we are going to see an increase in clouds for the overnight hours and into Tuesday, but we're not expecting rain until potentially the afternoon and evening for your Tuesday. But the bigger story tomorrow will be the beginning of those very warm temperatures, and not only will the temperatures increase, but the humidity levels will increase as well, which will lead to some fairly high heat index values. And specifically, Wednesday will be the hottest day where we have an alert day in the forecast. And although Wednesday is the only day we have the alert day, this does not mean it is not going to be hot for the other days. So we're going to see several days in a row with very hot temperatures. I'll talk more in detail about that coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, we'll see you then. Thank you. Madison police are describing this weekend's Coldplay concert as pleasant and peaceful. The sold-out show is the second in Camp Randall this summer after a 30-year hiatus. It follows Morgan Wallen's concerts in June. UW police say they only made 2 arrests with no major incidents. Madison Restaurant Week is officially here. This is an opportunity to try out local restaurants with a special price. Beef Butter Barbecue is one of those restaurants. Patrick Raya opened the Northside location 7 years ago. Before that, he was running out of a trailer in front of the Sun Prairie Woodmans. Now he's served over 2 million people, and he's hoping to serve even more for Restaurant Week.
People that live on the west side, they don't really come over here very often. And I'm like, listen, everything in Madison is only 20 minutes apart, so in 20 minutes you can come and get Madison's best barbecue.
Beef Butter Barbecue is one of 40 restaurants participating in Madison Restaurant Week. You can head to our website, channel3000.com, for a full list of locations. Well, football season is right around the corner, and of course that means the Packers will be taking the field in no time. News 3 Now is your home leading up to the season. This Wednesday, our Andrew Banstra and Jason Wilde will be live at Packers training camp. They'll bring you in-depth interviews with Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, as well as some of your favorite players. As President Trump marks 6 months since returning to office, new CBS News polling finds his overall approval rate has dipped to 42%. That is down more than 10 points since February. The polling shows growing doubt over deportations, with more Americans saying the administration is prioritizing people who are not dangerous criminals, and more than half saying the administration is trying to deport more people than they expected.
Is always focused on the worst of the worst.
If your agents encounter anyone who is here illegally, irrespective of whether or not they have a criminal record, that person will be taken into custody.
If they're here in the United States illegally, yes, they will.
That poll found bipartisan dissatisfaction with the administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case as well, including almost half of Republicans. A vast majority of Americans surveyed, 89% in fact, say the Trump administration should release all material related to the Epstein case. Well, still ahead for us on News 3 Now at noon. If you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now's the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us later in the broadcast with the answers. But first, after the break, an update on the CEO caught cheating on his wife at a Coldplay concert, plus why the Trump administration is threatening an end to a longtime partnership between two airlines.
The Trump administration is threatening to end a longtime partnership between Delta Airlines and Aeromexico. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said Mexico is violating a trade agreement due to its limits on passenger and cargo flights into Mexico City imposed several years ago. As a result, more airlines are being forced to move to a newer airport 30 miles away. Duffy says the actions benefit domestic carriers. The CEO caught on camera embracing an employee at a Coldplay concert in Massachusetts has resigned, according to a statement from the IT company Astronomer on LinkedIn. Andy Byron stepped down from his role at the Cincinnati-based company over the weekend. The statement reads in part, "Our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, and recently that standard was not met." And Superman is still flying high in its second weekend of release, holding on to its top ranking. The movie raked in another $57 million at the domestic box office for a total of $406 million worldwide. It will have more competition next weekend when Marvel's The Fantastic Four: First Steps debuts. Jurassic World Rebirth placed second with just over $23 million, and horror flick reboot I Know What You Did Last Summer ranked third with $13 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to CBSMoneyWatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's the stock report at the noon hour. The Dow is up 251 points, NASDAQ up 159, and the S&P 500 up 33. Pam has today's farm numbers ahead, and Jacob returns with the first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, it's Madison Restaurant Week, as we've been reporting. And I'll take you to our first feature of the week in the 608. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Yankee for the Midwest Farm Report on a Monday afternoon. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. Yeah, it was a good weekend. A lot of kids had fun at Dane County Fair. I was one of them. I want to thank all my tractor drivers that did such a wonderful job showing up. It looked a little iffy Saturday morning with the rain showers, but by 11 o'clock, the semis rolled in, the tractors rolled in, and we had a good Farm Babe Boogie tractor parade. Really want to thank Bill and Joan Mitchell from McFarland for bringing not only their tractor, but also a cart that the fairest of the fairs could ride along. Also, Bill's Towing from Lodi brought a big semi with a couple different rigs. All in all, it was just a wonderful event. I really appreciate all those tractor drivers for taking the time and making the effort to be a part of the Dane County Fair and my Farm Babe Boogie. We'll see you next year. The weather obviously is going to be on the minds of many this week. Don't forget, we've got the Rock County Fair, the Columbia County Fair all coming this week. And they are used to this kind of heat. I was mentioning that there are certain things that happen in a calendar year, like boys basketball. The weather's not going to be nice. And we know it's going to be hot when the Rock and Columbia County fairs are underway. Speaking of fairs, last week we found out the Wisconsin State Fair has got 100 brand new foods that they're going to unveil during the annual get-together over at West Allis. They also have 16 new food and beverage vendors that are going to be a part of it. Dubai funnel cake, pineapple sunrise, dill dog Dorito bombs, and how about glickles? Pickles with glitter. And there's something to think about as we get closer and closer to the Wisconsin State Fair. Market-wise today, dairy, not a lot of action. We've got barrel cheese unchanged at $1.66, 40-pound block cheese unchanged at $1.6425. AA butter on a Monday down a penny and a quarter at $2.50 a pound. Jeff Hadachek, one of our university ag economists, did a quick survey on how farmers are feeling along with his peers at Purdue. Despite lower commodity prices, he said farmers still remain optimistic that these tariffs are going to bring a benefit to them in the long run. So, like I said, farmers' eternal optimists, that is for sure. So there you go, Josh. Just a quick update on my weekend activities and looking forward to a hot, sticky week and county fairs again this week.
Yeah, we're in the thick of summer. All right, Pam Yankee, good to talk to you. Thank you. And speaking of that heat and humidity making a return this week, here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano with that first warn forecast, and it's going to get hot.
Yeah, it's really going to start to warm up tomorrow, but we're also going to see the increase in the humidity levels, which will lead to higher heat index values. Now, as far as rainfall goes, we have a small chance of storms Tuesday and Wednesday, rain more likely Thursday, and I do want to start with the rainfall. Now, as we take a look at the severe weather outlook for Tuesday, there is a marginal risk for the far northwestern portion of our area. And then for Wednesday, most of the region not under a severe weather risk, but there is a marginal risk and then a slight risk further north in central and northern Wisconsin. And I'm showing you this because a lot of the severe weather will stay north and a lot of the rainfall in general will also stay to the north. Now, looking at the rainfall forecast for the next couple of days, it is going to be dry for the rest of today and tonight. For Tuesday, those storms will move into our area from the north, but dissipate a little bit as they push south. Still could see some rainfall across our area, especially Tuesday into Tuesday night. And then as we get towards Wednesday, more likely going to be dry Wednesday compared to Tuesday, as most of the rain will in general stay in northern Wisconsin. But then we get to Thursday and we are going to see an increase in all of that rainfall, all the rain chances. And then for Friday, we're going to continue to see the chance of rainfall as well, maybe even continuing into the weekend on top of it. So recapping these rain chances, the best chance will be Thursday into Thursday night. But until then, we could see some of those showers and storms Tuesday into Tuesday night with a little bit of a less chance of rainfall Wednesday. And then for the end of the week and the weekend, a few small chances of rain will continue. Now let's talk about those temperatures. Right now, the only alert day in the forecast is Wednesday, but several other days this week will be very warm, but Wednesday looks to be the only day where we could see those heat index values get over 100. So that is why we have the alert day in the forecast for that day specifically. Looking at the heat alerts, right now there's only an extreme heat watch for south of Wisconsin, but that's from Wednesday morning through Thursday evening. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some heat advisories across our area as we get closer to the peak of this heat wave. Now, looking at the heat index forecast, today they're going to peak in the lower 80s, but tomorrow they're going to peak in the middle to lower 90s. And then, as I mentioned, Wednesday will be the day where they likely get over 100, with a lot of the area expected to see afternoon heat index values between 100 and 105. But it's not really going to end there. Although it's going to get slightly better, it's still going to be very, very hot. Thursday, heat index values in the middle to upper 90s, especially for areas east. And then Friday, we're going to continue to see heat index values in the 90s, maybe a little bit better on Friday, but it doesn't end there because then it's going to get worse again for the weekend with middle 90-degree heat index values for the afternoon, and that's going to continue for next Sunday as well. So at this point in time, there's not really a big end in sight to these warm temperatures. Now, it looks like it might get a little bit better towards the middle of next week, but for now, expect from Tuesday through at least next weekend to feature very warm temperatures pretty much every day, Wednesday being the absolute warmest. And as I mentioned, we'll have those rain chances, especially towards the end of this week, but they're not really going to impact the temperatures too much.
All right, and of course, yeah, this week is my turn to be at Concerts on the Square on Wednesday
Right.
night. So I told Sarah Carlson this morning we're going to have to be prepared for that heat. It's going to be something.
I don't know the exact temperature that is needed to postpone it, but we might be close to it for
Yeah,
sure
we'll
Wednesday.
be tracking it. All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, today Howard has an Amish-inspired recipe that's fresh from the farm.
If you have a garden or have been to the market lately, then you know we're smack dab in the middle of tomato season. This is the time of year that tomato lovers like me wait for. And since many of you are always looking for new ways to use tomatoes, we thought we'd share an old school Amish recipe that's both easy and tasty. And it goes together like this. We start by cutting a bunch of ripe tomatoes into chunks. As for the type, you could use anything from hearty beefsteak tomatoes to artsy-looking heirloom varieties. To that, we add a sweet onion that we've slivered. Now, for the part that gives these extra flavor, we mix together some vegetable oil, apple cider vinegar, a bit of sugar, and a few off-the-shelf spices. This gets poured over the tomatoes and it's ready to go. We can enjoy it as is, or we can pop it in the fridge so that all the flavors really come together. What makes this so good is the farm-to-table simplicity. It's what Amish cooking is all about. Let me tell you, it doesn't get any better than this. To get the recipe for what we call Amish Harvest Tomatoes, all you have to do is visit our website. I know you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen with Kelly, where today we found an easy Amish way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Next at noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com and we'll get the answers when we come back. Welcome back. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company here answering your plant and garden questions. Email them right now to tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
You ready for the heat?
Ugh.
I know, me
Not
too.
my favorite.
Not my favorite either. It's good for growing plants, though,
It is
right?
good for growing plants. Anybody who's growing tomatoes or peppers knows that those plants need the heat
Absolutely.
to ripen properly. But gosh, could we just not have the humidity?
I'm with you. What do we have here today?
So this is called a Rex begonia vine, but it is not related to begonias. It's actually related to grape ivy. It likes the same kind of conditions. It likes to be slightly damp. It likes filtered light. But the fun part about it is the underside of the leaves are this beautiful red
that's
color.
cool.
So like sometimes begonias will have different colors on the undersides of the leaves. So just a nice, fun houseplant.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the questions. They're rolling in. We're going to start with Wally. Wally sent us a photo that I just showed you.
Uh-huh.
When is a good time to trim up a bush/shrub that he has? It faces south, so it sees a lot of sun.
So Wally has a yew, and yews are really easy to shape as far as evergreens are concerned, because since they're shade tolerant, they will bud out along the stems. I usually prune my yews. I do a little bit of cutting back in the early spring, but now is the proper time to prune all your evergreens. So end of June to, mid to late July.
Oh, there you
so
go.
go ahead and shear it. That's what a lot of people will do with yews.
Yeah.
Just make them into a shape.
Now's the time.
Now's
All right,
the
let's get to Mary Lou now. Mary Lou says, how do you best protect yourself from the onslaught of mosquitoes this summer? Any tips?
Well, there are products like lotions and stuff that have citronella in them that are quite helpful. But what I found, there's a newer product called Mosquito Buster. And it's a granular product, and it's a repellent that you can shake around in your garden. So it doesn't hurt anything. It won't kill the mosquitoes, but it does repel them. It's got all kinds of natural fragrances in there. And I did try it for a party a couple weeks ago, and it was quite effective.
Okay.
And it's not toxic, smells pretty good, and won't hurt the pollinating insects.
I always feel like it never works. I'm just like, why even do it?
It was pretty effective.
That's good. I like to
Yeah,
hear that.
yes.
I hate mosquitoes.
Ugh.
All right, question number 3 comes from Vernell. Vernell says they have columbine plants and would like to know if they should be cut back. If so, when is a good time?
So columbines are sometimes a native plant in Wisconsin, and they like a shadier spot. So sometimes columbine leaves will last all season. Sometimes if it gets really hot or they're getting more sun than they would like, they start to die back like bleeding hearts. If they're doing that, go ahead and cut them back. They'll be fine for next year. But if they look healthy and green, I just leave them alone.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, I think we got time for one more question from Kurt. Kurt says he has a blue spruce that is losing needles from the bottom up and inside out. What can you do?
So this just sounds like regular needle drop. Inside the plant, as long as it's not going out to the growing tips, that's perfectly normal needle shed. And a lot of times, sun-loving evergreens will lose needles on the low branches as the higher branches shade out the older branches on the bottom.
Oh, makes sense.
So that's pretty typical.
All right.
Yeah.
Good questions today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa, as always.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Jacob now for a final check of the forecast.
Well, the story this week will be very warm, if not hot temperatures and some higher humidity values, especially starting tomorrow. But Wednesday will be the hottest day. Actual temperatures will get to the 90s that day, with heat index values possibly in the triple digits. But beyond Wednesday, pretty much every day, starting tomorrow, not necessarily today, but pretty much every day will feature heat index values at least in the lower 90s, and that's going to continue through early next week, maybe getting better by the middle of next week, but for now, not really a big end in sight to this warm-up.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. Our next newscast is live at 4, and you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Make it a great afternoon.